Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Sarah here for an ink swatching video, and I think this is going to end up being in two parts, and I will explain why. My pen friend T at the last Melbourne pen meetup I went to was telling me she's been exploring greys a lot at the moment, and these were four she had tried and then was wanting to pass on. So what I thought I'd do is swatch these ones, but then intersperse it with some greys from my collection. I've pulled out 5 greys, and 9 in one video I think is going to be too long, and it's also not going to fit on a page. So what I'm going to do is just split these in half and either do 5 today and 4 next time, or vice versa. So that's what I am going to do. Oop, and drop them. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a grey as well. Let's just go for it. So we're going to start off with those 2, and then I'll just randomly pull out 5 from what I have. All right. I really love grey ink. I think as like an option of using it at work. And sorry, when I say grey, I'm kind of using the word grey quite broadly. It's within the, that kind of colorway. I definitely, like, one of the inks I have from my collection to add is Sailor Yoy. And I think that is an ink that, can go a few different ways. It can be green, it can be purple. So, just putting that out there. All right. The first one I'm going to swatch is Yunjing Tang Lushan. I'm sure I've mispronounced that. Oh, I was actually talking, wasn't I? I really like grey ink because I think it's obviously a variation of black. I love that it can be formal, easy to read, but then kind of in line with what I was saying before, it also just can have so many variations, and I just kind of like the versatility of it. I find that really interesting. And I've also made a mistake. Who knows what it is? I haven't put blotting paper underneath. All right. So first cab is, as I said, Yunjing Tang Lushan. And I really don't know much about these inks, so discovering them together. What's jumping out at me straight away is, and I'll show you, the vial actually looks, in the vial it has quite like a purple tinge to it, and that isn't actually jumping out at me straight away when I look at it on the page. So I'll just show you this. I don't even know if you can see it in the cap there. There just really feels like a warmth to that ink in the vial, and interesting to see when it dries, because what I'm actually seeing now is quite a cool grey. I can see hints of green and blue in it, and it's just not what I saw when looking at it in the vial. So this is I was in a video a little while ago, I was chatting about how I thought maybe I had like a slight bit of dyslexia, and I wondered if I was going through school, if I'd be assessed now. And Serial Nana, and I've forgotten what it's called, but she was telling, because I was talking about like that I always seem to mix up like the same like letter combinations, and she was telling me that is actually called something, and to try writing in capitals, and it's crazy. It's made a really big difference. So I want to look into that a little bit more. But aside from my probable diagnoses, this, it's just jumping out at me as a cooler ink. I can see green through there. These darker patches look really lovely. I think it writes quite nicely. Little bits of shading, nothing too crazy. Should I come in a bit closer there? Is that better? I wish I don't know if it's going to show up, but it's so warm in there. It just looks purple. So curious, it's one of those ones, maybe a chromatography would be really helpful, but I just think that's lovely. And I think, in this fine nib, maybe not too much shading, but in the right pen, I think you could get some really nice shading with that ink. All right, that's the first one. How about we go to one of mine now? Let's do this one. This is one I used last month for and loved. This is Dominant Industry, an exclusive with Wonderpen's Tuna Grey. I'm actually using Ginger Chicken this month and loving it. I just think this was such a pleasure to write with. It felt so nice coming out of the pen. Everything about this ink I just really, really enjoyed. Let's go 5. And I actually have to say, I know it's not a grey, but Ginger Chicken, which is like the amber companion to this, again, is maybe my favourite ink of this month. Like, it's just been so beautiful to write with. What's jumping out at me straight away looking at compared just obviously through the Snaplock bag is that is so much warmer to me. I think the purplyness, technical term, of this ink jumps out straight away, especially next to what is that cooler Hey Tan. I think it's also darker, but I think that really just shows the difference of the browny purple side of the spectrum versus the greeny blue side. Let's do a writing sample down here. I also find this to be a wetter ink. It's really, really lovely to write with. This is Dominant Industry, their collaboration with Wonderpens, and it's Tuna Grey. And Tuna Grey and Ginger Chicken is after their 2 cats, which is super cute. My cat's name is Dragon, which, you know, may be a strange name for a cat, but it is what it is. She's 10. We're not changing it. We named her, to be fair. I chose that name. My lifelong plan, but it just hasn't really happened, was to have a cat named Dragon and then get a dog and name it Donkey. And I was like, they were Dragon and Donkey from Shrek. But don't have a dog. And Dragon we actually rescued, and she definitely has some anxiety, very scared of males. She was abandoned in kind of what's known as a pretty rough suburb in Sydney. We adopted her when we lived in Sydney from like the Inner West Rescue Shelter there. And to this day, she is frightened of men who have like a really like booming, deep voice. And, you know, the place we got her from, they don't know what happened. She was found on the side of the road. They thought maybe she was the runt of the litter. She's a good size and everything though. But yeah, any male friends with a really deep voice, she to this day is terrified of. She's okay with my dad now, but for the first couple of years, and he is a gentle man, just his presence would really freak her out. So not sure if maybe her first owner was possibly not a very nice man. Anyway, random tangent. Moving on, I'll do another one of my ones and then we'll go to the second one from my pen friend. What's in front of me? Okay, Pilot Iroshizuku Kiri-same. I feel like this ink needs no introduction. The Pilot Iroshizuku inks are just fantastic inks. I've used both this one and the Fuyu Siugun. Whoop, not going to say that correctly, am I? Maybe I will get more than I realise. You know what? I'm going rogue. I'm going to aim to try and do this all on one page. Let's see how I go. You'd think I could. Well, I was about to say just then, you think I could plan this stuff out. But here's the thing. I write myself notes and I do plan things out and then I just don't go with it. So I have no one else to blame but myself. I've covered my title there. I do it to myself, don't I? Welcome to what day is it today? Wednesday morning self-therapy sessions with Sarah. This is Pilot Iroshizuku Kiri-same. What I was saying before is the Fuyu Siugun, it's like a cooler version. So there's like the warm and then the cool. Those who know Colourverse, matter and antimatter, and I do have matter here somewhere. Similar thing. I really love writing with these inks. I actually haven't tried Takesumi yet, which is the black, and it's high on my list because I do still, at some, like I want to find just like a go-to black ink, and I love these Pilot Iroshizuku inks so much that I wonder if that could be it. Iroshizuku, and this is Kiri-same. Right. So next up, I'm not going to get them all on one page. I don't know what I'm thinking. Oh, man. Let's see how I go. Next up is a Kobe ink. It's number 59, Hirano Gion, also known as Romance Grey. And give me a second because I will clean my syringe. So Kobe is a brand that I really don't know much about. I've only, I don't think I've had any of their inks in a pen yet. I have swatched a couple, or maybe only one. The one that's jumping to mind that I've swatched is, what have I swatched? No, because I was going to say Shikon, but that's Kuretake. It's not Kobe. So there you go, a brand I really don't know much about, and excited to explore. So this ink, for me at the moment, of the 4 we've swatched so far, is quote unquote what I see as like the truest grey, and the reason I'm saying that is it reminds me of grey lead pencils, or lead pencils. I don't know, in Melbourne we call them grey leads. It's the pencil you use at school. Is there one easily accessible here? Kind of like this. It just reminds me of that lead pencil kind of colour. So in my mind, it's like quote unquote true grey. That is based on absolutely nothing, just memories of primary school. But looking at it here, it definitely leans cooler. Trying to look at the difference, if I'm looking at the undertones of the 2 cool inks, that one there maybe looks more green, whereas that looks bluer maybe. I'm not sure. But that's just reminded me of primary school. So in my primary school, it's a wet ink. It's gliding on that page so nicely. Definitely a wetter ink. Romance Grey. In primary school, you had to use grey lead pencils. And then in year 5, as you learnt cursive and things like that, you would actually get your pen license. And here's where I have to admit, as a fountain pen lover and I guess YouTuber, I never got my pen license. My handwriting was never deemed to be good enough through all of year 5. So I never got my pen license, and just decided in year 6 to be a rebel and use pens anyway. And then as an adult, when I was like, I nannied and babysat for this family that, yeah, I'm still very close with today. But when the eldest was in year 5 and she was so excited she got her pen license, she went to the same school that I went to. Did she? That's a lie. She didn't. But they still did pen licenses, and she got it, and she was so excited to show me. And then I told her that I never got one, and her and her sister could not comprehend that I used a pen and didn't have a pen license. So for my birthday, they wrote me out a pen license. So at 20-something years old, I finally got a pen license. But there you go. Next up, we're going to do Sailor Yoi. I've swatched this ink before. I'm pretty sure I've even done a deep dive. I am a big fan of this ink. I really, really like it. I just think it's gorgeous, and I've really enjoyed the writing experiences with it. It's also an ink that, depending on the paper you use, you just get like really different experiences. So this is actually going to be the first time I've swatched it in this Traveler's Lightweight notebook, but in different papers I've used, it's gone green, it's gone purple, it's gone a bit brown. You can get some chroma shading. It is just such a versatile, gorgeous ink. And straight away, I mean, look at that. Look at the chroma shading purple and green that's coming out in that swatch. That there's still the grey. I mean, before I was saying was I saying I want to go to grey or go to black? I think this is my go-to grey ink. It's so beautiful. Do I need to lift that up a little bit? I'm in love with it. Every time I use it, every time I swatch it, it kind of makes me want to use it in my next currently inked, just because I haven't swatched it in a while. So that is, I think is it Sailor Manyo? I'll just write Yoi. I don't actually know offhand what line it's from. But look at the purple, look at the green in there. It's just, and then in the writing sample, with a fine nib, a tiny writing sample, I'm still seeing the purple come through, but even just that base grey, or the grey that it kind of combines to be, I just think is stunning. Can you tell I like this ink? I'm not sure. So I reckon I can get 2 or 3 more in. So I'll go with the 2 from Pen Friend T, and then if I have space for 1 more of mine, I'll put it in. I'm not going to do Matter because I know I have swatched this before, but let's go to this one. So the next one I'm going to do is another Yunjing Tang, and it's Do Woo. Can't see much, like it's not something that's like jumping out of like that warmer in here like it was at the top. And again, I forgot to clean my syringe. Riveting watching, I'm sure. All right, let's put this one in. Let's go in here. Just stopping for a second. I'll just do a close-up, but that Kobe ink, it's actually starting to sheen brown. Ooh, interesting. Which is completely changed, like yeah, okay, we'll go back to that cannot speak. We will go back to that ink in a moment. Does anyone else there are days where I just cannot get a cohesive sentence out. And then there's other days, like I have to do quite a bit of like, not presenting like how you think about it, like training. It's not that at my work, but I have to do like a lot of like presenting cases to like higher management and panels and like basically like communicating a risk assessment. And I can pull out these like really succinct, clear, concise, blah, 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 rationales, assessments, presentations, and then like literally the next minute stumble of being like, hi, my name is Sarah. I don't know, it's bizarre, like just these moments of really struggling to get words out. And other times, like especially when like my professional hat is on, just comes out so smoothly. Would probably be beneficial for everyone here if I could get my shit together, so to speak, in this setting. But alas, guys, it's not going to happen. Wow. So the thing that's jumping out at me straight away is a similar type of chroma shading to Yoi. I'm getting bits of green through there, bits of purple. I think it's going to overall dry darker. I think the biggest difference for me so far is in the writing sample. I'm not seeing as much variation as Yoi, but the chromatography of those two would be quite interesting, I think, just as a bit of a compare and contrast. Wow. So, you know what? How long have I been going for? I'm going to try and smash through these last 2, and then we'll do some close-ups. So the next I'm going to do, I've got one from my pen friend and one from me, is Sailor Itazora. This one's probably going to look quite different. It definitely leans blue, but I kind of was wanting to get like a lighter ink in there too, to really look at the differences. So this is the one I was tossing up between this one or the Vinter Inks Asian or Armada 1944. And even like in some ways, could you include what is it, Sailor Hinoki? But for me, that was like kind of very clearly a blue. So that's why I went with Itazora as the choice. So I will just do this. Wow, getting some awesome chroma shading on this paper, aren't we? Wow. That's wild. That is just not grey at all. What is going on? All right, writings. I'm not even going to discuss it. Let's go writing sample. That looks like Ink Studio type stuff here. Sailor Itazora. Okay, that's why I chose it. In the writing sample, it definitely comes together to look grey, especially in a fine nib, but you can see the warmth of that purple coming through. And I've written with this ink before and absolutely loved it. And I just think it could be an artistic alternative to quote unquote grey. That swatch is just jumping out as purple and green though, isn't it? It puts this one to shame, but really beautiful. I think I would really love to try this, maybe in a stub. Maybe I put that in a stub nib. Hey, who's used this ink? What pen did you love putting in it? What was your favourite combination when the ink was Itazora? Definitely let me know. That are samples from the Desk Bandit, so it's only a smaller sample. Does anyone else do this where you like love an ink so much that then you don't use it because you're going to like finish off your sample? I used it once and I was like, oh, well, I have to keep this sample now, but it's also like, well, it's also there to be used, so maybe do that. But I can see myself one day either Yoi or Itazora getting a bottle of one of those two. I think that's, what would end up happening. All right, last but absolutely not least is Yunjing Tang Lushan. And I don't know if this means anything, but in actually the label, it has bits of green. So I don't know if that was like a printing thing. And I haven't seen like variations in like other Yunjing Tang labels, but and this is from Pen Supplies, which is an Aussie business here. This was given to me from my pen friends, but I have ordered from Pen Supplies before. They're really great. And actually, if you're in Australia and you're wanting to do like any sort of like pen maintenance, I reckon these guys are your go-to for supplies. My micro mesh is from there. My brass sheets are from there. What else? I've gotten some more stuff from there. And they do an ink subscription box as well, which I actually am not part of. But I think they're the only ones in Australia who do. So I would give it a look. I'm just going to add a little bit more ink here. And give it a go. Okay, so I've just added a little bit more ink. So this one is definitely ringing green. I actually wonder, I don't know if I'd call this a green. Grey, I think I'd call it a green, but in the chrome, I can understand maybe why I included it. Okay. This to me is definitely jumping out as a base color green, but it's almost like there's a hint of like a really greeny grey undertone there, which is interesting. It'll be interesting also to see the writing sample, what really jumps up. So what do we say it's called? I'm going to run out of room here, aren't I? Whoop. Yunjing Tang Lushan. It feels a bit funny on the nib, to be honest. Look, as it dries, I think kind of like this browny grey is coming across it. But I think even just really looking at the rest of the page, it definitely jumps out as green. I'm going to zoom out. All right, and bring this up close to look at And then it's been long enough, I'll let you guys go. So this is a grey exploration, a mixture of inks from pen friend T and some of my own, because I know she is exploring greys at the moment. So up the top we have Dominant Industry, their collaboration with Wonder Pen's Tuna Grey. Then we have Yunjing Tang Tan. In the middle here, Pilot Iroshizuku Kiri-same, Kobe ink number 59 Romance Grey. And there is definitely a brown sheen on that I'm hoping is coming through the camera. And then down the bottom here, Sailor Yoi, Sailor Itazora on the other side, another Yunjing Tang in the middle, Duwu, and down the bottom, Yunjing Tang Lushan. There are so many here to choose from. I would love to know what your favorite is. What have you tried? What are you wanting to try? And what is your go-to grey ink? As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you could hit like and subscribe, and I'll chat to you again soon. Bye.